And here he is back into the Punch podcast. This is 2 times for him now. It's starting to, might have to get your car park out the front. Eddie Hearn, welcome to the Punch podcast.
Thanks for having me.
This is going to be good. I'm looking forward to having a chat to you today because, look, Saturday night, the first Matchroom card is here in Australia. And what I'm seeing, it's looking awesome.
Do you know, it's a really, really good card. I mean, firstly, it's so refreshing to come somewhere where people are willing to fight people. You know, people are willing to take challenges. People aren't concerned about their own because a lot of them want to get the opportunity to fight on this card. And then you go on to the TV portion and we've got some really good fights. You know, every fight's a championship fight on the card on Saturday night. And I'm really excited about the main event as well. You know, I mean, Jeff Fennick rolled into town yesterday with Jarvis looking like something out of Hulk Hogan. You know, absolutely ripped to shreds. Like Liam Paro looks fantastic. 22-0 against 20-0. I think it's going to be a brilliant fight.
I love that you say that about Jarvis because that's what I've been watching.
He's a machine.
What's happening? I don't know what weight class he settles in eventually. I'm still trying to work that out. Maybe it's 140 for now, but look, I can see him going up. I don't know. His body's a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, this is his 8th weight division, right? And he walks around. I mean, he looks not twice the size of Liam Paro, but he looks 2 divisions bigger than Liam Paro. And he's going to be relentless on Saturday night. I mean, you only see him on, he turned up yesterday and Jeff Fennick said, we're not doing a workout. We're not doing a workout. I said, oh, Jeff, come on, mate. Like everyone else has done it. Oh, literally, we're going to go in there and just do nothing. I was like, all right, went in there and he was like smashing the pads, like pushing Jeff Fennick back for about 10 minutes. And you know what he's going to do on Saturday night? He's going to walk Liam Paro down. He's going to try and beat him up and bully him. And it will lead to an unbelievable fight. Liam Paro is not a huge, devastating puncher. So he's going to have to really work to keep Jarvis off him on Saturday night. But, he's got the pedigree, Liam. He's a fantastic fighter. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I've been asked a few times, who's the favourite? And I'm like, well, Liam Paro technically, because he's established at 140, but Brock ain't a slouch. And this is something where you could easily build a case for each fighter. And I guess that's what you're trying to do by putting on such a great headlining card. Yeah,
and I just felt like, if you're going to come to Australia, we could have put them both on this card, but like against international opponents, like what's the point? And I mean, look, you got Stevie Spark going in a couple of weeks at 140. He's got a massive opportunity against Montana Love. So, Dempsey McKean, he's got a good fight and he's really shouting out for the big fight. Skye Nicolson going for her first professional title. And what about Tapia against Abdullah Mayweather? Another great fight on the card, and beneath that, 3 fights, but all between undefeated fighters. So can't wait.
Yeah, let's talk about Skye Nicolson as well. Her first title fight, a Commonwealth title, which is good. She's pumped. She was really hoping that she could have some straps of some sort, and you've got her in one. And how do you see that one? Obviously, she is on fire at the moment. So look, it's
I watched yesterday at the workout, and she just looks like a completely different fighter. It's hard to believe that she only debuted in March. And now we're in October. It's been 6 months, 7 months, and she's already fought 4 times, twice in America, twice in the UK, and she's about to fight for her first professional title. But what I'm seeing and hearing in the gyms back in the UK is that she's dominating people and she's stopping people and she's beating them up, which is all the things that you might not have expected from Skye Nicolson when she first turned pro. We know that technically, the footwork, the timing, she's got everything. But if those changes may take place, which I believe they will, then I think you've got yourself not just a world champion, but I think you've got yourself a global star in Skye Nicolson. And that Saturday night, Christina Jacobs is tough. It's another all-Australian clash. For me, it's not necessarily if Skye wins, it's how she wins. If she can go in there and dominate this girl and stop her and make a statement. Skye's very ambitious. She's already talking about Amanda Serrano, Christina Cruz, and they're inevitable. It's just when. And it's just jumping in those fights at the right time. For me, it's 3 more fights before, a world title fight. But, don't tell her that I told you that because she's probably thinking 1 or 2. But the time will come. Yeah. She's putting the work in and, you don't know where the ceiling is. And I think she's that kind of fighter that the ceiling might be really, really, really high, like pound for pound high. So just let her develop physically, and I think you guys have got a big star on your hands.
Well, the rate that she's been fighting at the moment, like you said, 4 fights since March. You said she's only got another 2 or 3, maybe 4, who knows, before that wide title shot. Could that be next year, do you think, by the end of it?
Definitely. Definitely fight for a world title in 2023. She'll be thinking sooner rather than later. I think if she wins well on Saturday, then get back out in December, and then, one early 2023, and then sort of early summer of next year. Don't forget, she's also got her eyes on the Olympics. That's still a big ambition of hers as well. I think sometimes that can change a little bit when you start unifying world titles, but she seems pretty adamant that she wants to try and win a medal in Paris. So I think she's in her head, she's probably thinking, let's move quickly, become a world champion, and then I can switch back and try and qualify for Paris. But, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, she's mentioned that a few times, and she's pretty focused on trying to get that across the line. But we do look forward to seeing that happen. And Saturday night, that venue, the Brisbane South Bank Plaza, it's an interesting one, and I don't even think there's been fights there before. I'm not too sure, but
no, never been
fights there. Up. Yeah,
never been fights there. And when I was here back in June, I walked past the piazza and just thought, wow, surely why can't we just go in there? And the guy said, look, they don't allow boxing in there. It's never been done before. I said, it's perfect. It's like a gladiatorial amphitheatre.
Yeah.
That's just made for boxing. And, we pushed hard. We got a lot of help locally as well. And they made it happen. And, we've got, I know, a couple of 100 tickets left, but it'll be completely full on Saturday night. And the atmosphere will be brilliant.
I love that you're just out for a little walk, just do a bit of a recce. Oh, hang on, now it's just chuck it in there.
I know, but I was like, that's perfect. Sort of semi-outdoors, overlooking the river. It's going to be a great spectacle, and that sort of style of amphitheatre seating lends itself to a great atmosphere and a great environment for fight fans.
And it'll look great on DAZN as well. So when you're the panning cameras or whatever else, I think it'll look really, really good. And that's something we're definitely looking forward to seeing, and plans to announce a second show while you're here. Surely there's a few in the works.
Yeah, I think we need to bring a show of, big existence to Australia in time, of course. And that probably definitely involves a major world title fight.
Yeah.
Could even involve an Anthony Joshua. We'll see how Dempsey gets on Saturday. But I think our next show could be December or could be early 2023. Obviously, Liam Paro, if he was victorious, would put himself in a position to fight Josh Taylor, who will probably vacate towards the end of the year. And I see Liam, if he wins, fighting probably Teofimo Lopez for that world title. But again, Brock's going to put himself in that position if he wins as well. So the aim is to bring those big fights to Australia. Yeah. A lot of your guys seem to and be happy to travel as well for big fights, but there's no reason, especially with the funding you guys get from local government, that we can't bring those big names here as well. So Saturday is the start for us, and hopefully the start of many.
Hopefully having Devin Haney in the country, just for fighters at that level, it just puts it a bit more on the radar. Like, it's doable. He's done it. It's fine. So hopefully even fights like Kambosos Haney is something that might have been out of sight, out of mind previously, but now it's something that they can do. So fingers crossed. It'd be good to get all those guys here. And I did hear you mention something about a world tour potentially for AJ, which would include Australia. I've heard you say that before.
Yeah, I just think that now, obviously, if the Fury fight doesn't happen, I think he's going to get active and busy. And to do that, I love the idea of a world tour. I mean, we did it with Chris Eubanks Sr. many, many years ago. And you think about the fights that AJ can have. Obviously, Dempsey, McKean in Australia, Zhilei Zhang in China. He can come back. He can fight in the UK, of course. He can fight in America. And I think that's a pretty cool thing to do. So, for Dempsey, he's top 12 in the world with 2 governing bodies. Really, Corte, his opponent, I think he's 18-1, 19-1, should beat him. And then he's waiting for that big fight, whether it's Dillian Whyte, whether it's Derek Chisora, whether it's Anthony Joshua, whether it's Filip Hrgovic. We got so many heavyweights, Zhilei Zhang. So he's there or thereabouts. You got Justice Huni as well, your other heavyweight charge. It's exciting to have a couple of guys in the mix, at least, for big heavyweight fights.
While you are out here, are you scoping a bit more Aussie talent? I know last time you were out here to announce the fight, which I found hilarious when I had Stevie Spark on this podcast. He said that he drove to Toowoomba and he goes, I don't think Eddie realised how far it was in the car.
I thought Toowoomba was about half an hour away. And then 3 hours later, going up some hill through some fog, and I found this little gym, Brendan's gym, and I always promised Brendan that I'd come when I was here. And, I kept my word, but I didn't realise, I probably wouldn't have kept my word if I realised it was 3 hours. But I just like Stevie Spark. I'm a bit of a softie with fighters that have never really been given a big opportunity when they've dedicated their whole life to the sport and have talent. Like I can't, because of the size of the business, I can't just help everybody. But when I see someone like Stevie Spark, and I know he's all action, I know he can punch, I know he's going to give you a great fight for TV, I just thought, I like this kid, and I like Brendan, and I'd like to give him an opportunity. So we talked about Chris Algieri, we talked about some of our UK guys, and then the Montana Love fight came up, and I think Stevie Spark's pretty well respected. I know Montana Love and his team, they accepted the fight, but they know he's no slouch. And, I saw Stevie yesterday at the workout, and he talks a great game. He says, I'm going to knock him out. And I said, if you knock him out, you're going to change your life forever. And you're going to give yourself so many great opportunities to be in massive fights. And he's pumped. So that's part of our focus. He's not just bringing fights to Australia, is to make sure that Australian fighters can move forward on our cards against some of our global talent.
Out of all the cards, like you said, was Montana Love an obvious choice for you? Because I would have assumed you might have put him on this card on Saturday night, but I was almost certain we're going to see him pop up on there after you had spoken to him, but not the case. He is going to Cleveland.
No, I think because he wants a big fight.
Yeah,
I don't see that big fight in Australia for Stevie right now. I mean, look, I see him be the winner of ParoVJarvis. I mean, look, if Steve Spark goes and beats Montana Love, the winner of him against the winner of Brock Jarvis and Liam Paro, it's a massive fight, and it could end up even being for some kind of world title or world title eliminator, So, we'd already kind of established the card, and Stevie just wanted a big fight. So, America for him next.
Yeah, if you do get him on that rematch, because isn't it? It's the global lightweight title, so that'd do a lot for rankings. Obviously, Liam's already there, but for Brock to win too, that's a pretty damn good carrot.
Yeah, and Liam's now number 2. He's sort of fluctuating between 1 and 2 with the WBO. So, that's what Jeff said. Jeff Fennick says, I can't believe these guys have given us like the golden ticket to go and raid the division.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if you listen to Jeff Fennick, this fight's over in 2 rounds. But it's going to be a thriller.
Also, another one that you have got booked into, Ebanie Bridges, shotgun Shannon O'Connell. You won the purse bids on that. It's locked into Matchroom. It's going to be on DAZN. Thanks for putting it on at 5 a.m. Australian time. But look, we got it done. You got it done. And how do you see that one playing out? And
a lot of people say, 2 Australians, that fight should be in Australia. And I get that. But also, don't forget, Ebanie Bridges is a big star in the UK. And she's a big driver of numbers in the UK for us, and she's based in the UK, and she wanted the fight in the UK. So as the A side for that fight, you want to make sure that your champion gets the hometown benefits, really, of not having to travel. And that's what we secured for her. It's a great fight. I mean, look, the build-up's going to be fantastic. And in the Australian fight community, it's kind of split. Some people obviously know Shannon, they want her to win, others Ebanie, they want her to win, and the build-up's going to be a lot of fun for that fight. And it's a great fight. Ebanie's improved so much as a fighter. I feel like early on, she didn't really get the respect as a fighter. And to be honest with you, maybe her ability didn't garner that at world level. But she's a genuine world-class fighter now, and she's putting in the effort. Shannon O'Connell's been there or thereabouts for a long time. But I don't see her beating Ebanie Bridges, especially in Leeds. There's going to be 10,000 fans in there that all will be cheering for Ebanie Bridges. It's going to be a very hostile atmosphere. And Ebanie's, going to be very difficult to beat that night. And they don't like each other. It's the facts, and it's just going to be a great fight.
Yeah, the facts are what's going to make it awesome too. Like there is genuine distaste for each other. So that's what we love to see. Put them in and chuck a world title on it and boom, there's your spectacle. out of your entire roster, Ebanie would have to be up there with probably some of the more interesting, let's say, promotional fighters that you've got. She loves going on Twitter. She says some outlandish shit. She'll run a mouth like nothing else. She's very good at banging the drum. There's a reason she's got a profile in Leeds, because she's over there doing that. Yeah. How does she sit on the roster for you with everyone that you've got? Because she is an interesting cat when she gets going.
Yeah, she's got a big profile now. Obviously, she's very well known. There's two sides to Ebanie, I think. There's the side of the building the profile and doing whatever she needs to build that profile. But there's a serious side as a fighter. Someone that's left Australia, set up in the UK and you see that a lot. I was talking to Skye Nicolson the other day about her sort of struggle for sparring over here, really. Like, trying to get a last sparring before the fight, and it's just very difficult to find elite female sparring over here. There's some good female fighters over here, but sometimes ones might be a champion in division and they don't want to spar you, or there's just not the depth in talent. So I think when Ebanie first came over, the perception was, and probably the perception from me was, she's just sort of out there building her profile and how good she's going to be, and she's not really got a lot of experience. And honestly, the development of her as a fighter has been pretty impressive. Like the victory over Cecilia Roman was a dominant performance over a long reigning world champion. So you have to give her credit. And a victory over Shannon O'Connell would be, another string to that bow. And then she wants to unify the division. So I think she deserves credit, really. I mean, like her, don't like her. I think, most people in the UK do like her. But I think you have to respect the work she's putting in, and also the performance that she put in last time, and the fact that she's better than people believe. And I think Shannon O'Connell will find that out on December 10th.
Yeah, well, she's definitely got that platform to make that happen. And it'll be interesting to see Shannon fly over there and be in Leeds. I think she really thought that it might have been here in Australia, and why not? But I don't know if Leeds was a shock to the system, but it's probably good for her. Take her out of her comfort zone, put her there and fight for a world title. Then you've earned it, but that's really winning one when you do that, like Devin did to George the first time, right? So I don't know. I reckon it'd be awesome to have Shannon O'Connell over there as well. And apart from the 5 a.m. wake up, look, I'm all right with it. Hey, while you are out here too, Devin Haney, George Kambosos, the rematch that's on. Are we going to see you in center ring after the fight with a new deal for Devin Haney?
I think it's that fight's come around so quick, and it hasn't got the profile of the first fight for two reasons. One, Devin won the first fight easily, and two, George hasn't said anything this time. He's gone completely under the radar, which is a nightmare promotionally, but it's something that he feels he's got to do because he is just focusing on winning the fight. He has to win the fight for his career. I don't see anything but a shutout victory for Devin Haney again, in all honesty. Like, there's nothing in the first fight that shows you that George can beat Devin. Devin's going to box a very safe fight again. And I expect him to win the fight on points. So we'll see. We'll talk after the fight and see where he goes. But, I'll find a way to tune in Sunday morning somehow, some way for that one.
You might, you and the winner of ParoVJarvis might be at the casino in Brisbane still, and just be able to get it from the tab in the sports bar.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I think Devin will move to 140 as well, like after this fight. So, who knows? Could be the winner of our fight ends up fighting Devin anyway.
Was the date changed? Because originally your Matchroom fight on Saturday night was scheduled for September. You moved it to October 15, the day before the undisputed fight in Melbourne. Was that tactical to make some audience while it's all happening here, or
not really? It was more about venues. It was and so much volume and liquidity of shows here. I mean, you've literally got a show every week.
It's a bit going on.
So we came and we planned to do it sort of end of September, and then we couldn't get the venue in the Gold Coast, and then the Piazza was full until October, and I just wanted to do it right. I wanted to make sure that we got the right venue. And we've got it October 15th, but it's worked pretty well. I mean, I saw a big article in the Sydney Herald that sort of said it's just a massive weekend for Australian boxing. Big show in Brisbane, big show in Melbourne, and that's really a great example of where you guys are at right now with boxing. There's loads of it, and you've got some good fighters, and that's why I'm not wasting my time coming here. You know, with all due respect, I'm a busy guy that's got big ambitions for world boxing, and I wouldn't be flying over the other side of the world to promote a show if I didn't feel like there was potential here, not just for boxing, but in terms of talent. So, you know, I'm excited, and I've had a great reception here from people. There's a great feeling of people who want to see the sport succeed here, and that makes me feel great.
Do you think it's really possible? I know you say it, but in what sort of time frame do you think a Canelo Alvarez could be here?
I mean, again, it all depends on opponents. Look, if Tim Tszyu was already at 168, I think you'd start talking about that fight now.
Yeah.
You know, and again, Anthony Joshua, you know, is Dempsey McKean a viable, credible opponent? See how he looks on Saturday night. And I think that those guys, Canelo Alvarez, Anthony Joshua, they've all got ambitions to fight globally. And AJ's done it already, and Canelo Alvarez has, but wants to go to more territories as well. But I think if the market continues to grow and their funding is available from state governments, why not? You know, you've seen Manny Pacquiao here. Obviously, you've seen Haney Kambosos on a smaller level, but you've seen other big fights here. And that's the aim, is to build the sport big enough to see big names come here and defend their title.
Actually, speaking of Canelo, I watched something the other day, just a bit of a tour of his ranch. Have you been to his house?
Yeah,
phenomenal.
unbelievable.
Have you been to the quad bike car thing that he's got?
I had it. Oh, I went. I had one of the great nights of my life at Canelo Alvarez's ranch in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of tequila. There was a lot of karaoke.
Yeah.
There was some horse riding. There was some quad biking. You know, it was. He's just such a normal, down to earth guy, and like, it's amazing what he's achieved from where he's come from. You know, and he's great company. And yeah, I wouldn't call it a home. I'd rather call it a sort of hotel resort.
Yeah.
You know, or its own town.
Yeah.
You know, it's an amazing place.
He's one of those guys where it's like, oh, if I won lotto, I'd do this, where most people don't if they've got that sort of wealth. But he's gone and bought all the toys.
Yeah. He loves it. Yeah, and you know, when you're seeing him on a horseback, you know, with no saddle, sort of riding through, and you're just thinking, please don't come off that horse, whatever you do. Oh, yeah. So he's a great guy.
Yeah, look, well, hopefully we can get some more Matchroom announcements for you soon. We're looking forward to hearing those. DAZN, grab the app. You can check out the show on Saturday night. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to look phenomenal. The team are good, ready to go. I'm assuming everyone's set.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got Ben Damon, we've got Jeff Horn, we've got Stevie Sparks jumping in on the broadcast as well. So the production will look great. Tune into DAZN on Saturday night and let us know what you think. You know, we want to make sure that we produce quality. We want to make sure that Australian fight fans feel like they have value for money. Mm-hmm. And as I said, from start to finish, I really believe, you know, you got a fantastic card on Saturday.
Yeah, well, there you go. Jump on DAZN, get it, and we'll see you there. Eddie Hearn, thanks for stopping by the Punch podcast, and I'm glad you got the memo. And just so you know, your fashion's great.
All right, mate. Thanks for having me on. See you soon.